at a 1 minute 19.5. Rounding out the top 5, Daniel Morad, CRP Racing Mercedes-Benz. That's a bright orange De Vilbiss car, kind of a 2 at a 119.7. And then in 6th position, Alvaro Parent in the Bentley, kind of a 9 at a 119.9. Fastest of the AM contenders is now Martin Fuentes in kind of a 0.7. The GTA champion from a couple of years ago. Didn't race much last year, but back in the Pirelli World Challenge in 2018. And has been very much the guy to beat. He's won both sprint races at St. Petersburg. He won both Sprint X events along with Baccarella at Circuit Americas a couple of weeks ago. So he's very much on a roll.
Well, I want to welcome all of our live stream viewers worldwide right now at world-challenge.com or our Pirelli World Challenge app. If you don't have the app yet, make sure you go to the App Store or the Google Play Store and search for Pirelli World Challenge and download our brand new app. Really a lot of great information on there. Race archives, the schedule, event results, series news. Always follow along on Facebook. If you're not one of those fans, go to Pirelli World Challenge Championships, Twitter at WC Racing, and Instagram. Just search Pirelli WC for all the action all season long for part of the Pirelli World Challenge. You get a good treat for all of our live stream viewers worldwide to get a chance to watch qualifying. We just got live now, but we just completed the practice session. Checkered flag out. It looks like Michael Christensen might be the top time so far, a 1:19.193. Tony Vilander sort of lacked that in the top 10, but puts a lap down there on that final session just by the 13th lap at a 1:19.217.
Yeah, that's right. He just took the checkered flag now, and just took the checkered flag, and that was his best lap at 1:19.217. So within 24 thousandths of a second of Michael Christensen. Daniel Morad also improves across the checkered flag to turn a 1:19.268. So the top 3 cars covered by 3/4 of 100th of a second. 0.075 covering the top 3.
Can you say that fast enough?
Yeah, exactly.
How quick is that? Take your stopwatch and try to.
It's a blink of an eye. No, there's no way.
And try to stop it quick enough.
No, that's about most people about 0.2 of a second is the best you could possibly do.
Quicker than a blink of an eye, they said. So that's pretty crazy to see that around this track here at Long Beach Grand Prix. Well, Jeff Leppard, Jeremy Shaw joining here. That was concluding our practice session for our GT, GTA, GTS, and GTSA class. If you notice the standings, seeing some GTS cars here. We did do a GTS Invitational, 7 cars strong here, 3 of our GT Pro category cars, 4 of our GTS A class cars to sort of give a chance for these great fans here at Long Beach and worldwide to see some of these beautiful brand new GT4 machines compete around here at Long Beach for the Toyota Grand Prix. One of these 43 years now, I believe we've been here.
44. This
44. This is the 44th year here for the Toyota Grand Prix at Long Beach, and the 9th year that Pirelli World Challenge has been here in a row. So good to see that and these beautiful GT3 machines, and now these exotic GT4s coming into this platform. Going through the standings for those that are just now joining us on the web, it was Michael Christensen. We mentioned before with that 1:19.193 in that Allegra Motorsports Porsche. Tony Vilander in the R. Ferry Ferrari at a 1:19.217. Daniel Morad at a 1:19.268. That 0.075 seconds that we mentioned before in that De Vilbiss Mercedes sitting in 3rd. Going to our GTA category, Martin Fuentes was slacking a little bit there in that first practice session. He was able to set the top of the time charts at a 1:20.317. Rodrigo Baptista goes 2nd in his Bentley Continental from K-Pax Racing at a 1:20.489. And Yuki Hirata in that Dream Racing Huracan GT3 Lamborghini at a 1:20.989. In our GTS category, Spencer Pompelli spent a lot of time on the pit lane in the first part of the session, able to get his fastest lap on that final flyer, the first car of our GTS category into that 1:26 second bracket at a 0.947, just be able to eclipse Harry Gottsecker in his Racer's Edge Sin R1 at a 1:27.169. Paul Holton in his Compass Racing McLaren 570 at a 1:27.573 to round out your top 3 in our GTS. And GTSA, how about local favorite? I think I don't know how many championships he has over every discipline he's ever driven in, but gold medalist at X Games, Supermoto winner, Superbike winner, motocross winner, Jeff Ward in his Black Swan Racing Porsche Cayman at a 128.171. Bob McCallion in the second of the Sens car. Of course, Jim McCallion, the founder here of the Long Beach, one of the founders and operator now of the Long Beach Grand Prix. And second, George Kurtz, finally up to speed in his CrowdStrike Audi in third, and Mike Sullivan running out our GTSA category in fourth. For our field. A little quick 15-minute break here from the practice session to the start of qualifying. Gives these teams a chance to sit down and put a fresh set of Pirelli P0 tires on. Set whatever fuel you want for your qualifying session. You may add some fuel. You might take some out for the weight. Get the balance right. Maybe make some sway bar or shock adjustments. Figure out what you want to adjust to get ready for qualifying. That was the first time race cars have been on the track, Jeremy. So really coming from a driver's perspective, what do you think a lot of these drivers were looking at on the track?
Yeah, they were just making sure there was some drifting last night, wasn't it? The practice and qualifying, I believe, for the Super Drift that'll take place, I think, this evening. They were there's certainly some more rubber laid down, particularly on the sort of east end of the racetrack here, around the final section of the racetrack. So some different rubber laid down there. That'll have changed the characteristics of the track just a little bit, but that would have kind of come back to these teams during the session as the more of the Pirelli rubber is laid down on the racing surface. And these Pirelli P0 tires like their own rubber to mesh with, if you like, in terms of the rubber on the cars as well. So the track conditions were just about perfect then, and I think now they will take a little bit of fuel. There'll be low fuel, fresh tires, and just lay it down there. And conditions now, I mean, they really couldn't be much better. So I would expect most of the track records to be broken here in starting in about 5 minutes time.
I want to remind everybody here that's at the Pirelli World Challenge. We do have our autograph session taking place at 11 a.m. at the Optima Battery Fan Zone in the Convention Center. A lot of great things happening here. We had the IndyCar autograph session yesterday, Stadium Super Truck autograph sessions going on. The IMSA cars are here, the WeatherTech Championship. Their autograph session begins at 9:30, so just about 20 minutes over at the IMSA Team Transporter across the Firestone Bridge.
And that'll continue after our qualifying session here is finished until 10:15. So over in the IMSA paddock, which is in the area by turns 9, 10, and 11, on the kind of outside of the racetrack, there's the Firestone Bridge leading over to the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship paddock. So all the drivers will be there for that as well.
This is all part of that great Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Don't forget tonight, SMG presents The Cult. The great music starts at 6 p.m. on the concert stage. It's free if you have a race ticket. A lot of stuff here free. The Pirelli World Challenge paddock's open. Come meet the stars and cars of Pirelli World Challenge. You mentioned the Motegi Super Drift Racing Challenge. That starts at 7 p.m. It's in that sort of stadium section, so to speak, turns 9, 10, and 11. If you have a ticket holder there, you can come go into any of the grandstands. It's first come, first serve, so get your seat to watch those drift cars. Some amazing thing there. It's a judged motorsport, but it still is a motorsport. They are full race cars, and one of the exciting things to see the smoke and the sounds coming from that Motegi Racing Super Drift Challenge. Hopefully.
You name it, it's here this weekend.
It is.
Because the Expo Center as well, where the Pirelli World Challenge cars are paddock. You can have a look around there. There's all sorts of other exhibits there and displays and shows and you name it. And some other sort of club racing series are based up there as well. There's the Champ Car Endurance, I know, has a booth up there. I've been doing some of that racing over the last few years. In fact, I think my car's up there, actually. Well, the car I've been driving, which is not my car. But go and have a look at that. If you're looking for a cheap way to get into the sport, Champ Car Endurance is a really, really good way to get started. They're all long-distance races, 7 or 8 hours minimum, up to as long as 24 hours. And I tell you what, the cars are inexpensive to run. Certainly compared to the level of professionalism we've got here at the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach, but it's a great way to get involved in the sport. But coming up now very, very shortly, we're just, a couple of minutes away from qualifying for effectively round 5 of the Pirelli World Challenge for 2018.
And wasn't that's that red Miata that's up there?
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure I saw a lot of the dents on it, and they were like, yeah, that was Jeremy
yes,
Shaw.
It was, that's
yeah,
true.
that was Jeremy Shaw. That one was,
hey,
I'm just kidding.
That was people running into me. It wasn't me running into them, right?
Yeah, the big expo center they have here, a lot of great booths set up, and just really makes this a lifestyle event, so to speak, with exactly racing here. And You got the Queen Mary here in the background. We're actually at the entrance to pit lane in the top of the grandstands, overlooking the front stretch just before the Toyota Bridge as they come down Seaside or Shoreline Drive, turning down to around the fountain area. Just the picturesque area that you have here at Long Beach. Great for the fans here. We got all types of celebrities coming up here to our PA booth right now. And seeing, like I said, celebrities, of course. Pirelli World Challenge WC Vision CEO Greg Gill. And how about Rafael Navarro from Pirelli Tire? He'll be able to hop onto the headset with us and talk a little bit about these Pirelli P0 tires. I think a lot of the teams that are down here in the pit lane right now in their pit boxes are parked. And I think those drivers are getting ready to put on a fresh set of these Pirelli P0 tires to get out and start the qualifying session and get going. Looking at some of the times that we saw earlier, I'm not sure who's going to be ready to get for this poll. It's going to be a battle for our top 5, and we talk about the battles and what has to happen with these cars, and everywhere we go, how faster these cars get, and I can't help but think it's got to be because of these Pirelli P0 tires. Rafael Navarro joining us in the booth here. Rafael, first tell us about this event and what Pirelli is for it.
Well, this is definitely a biggie on the calendar every year, right? Who doesn't like to come to Long Beach? The history, historically back to the Formula One days, sports cars always relevant here. Yesterday I was really blown away to see all the Trans Am cars.
Yeah.
That was super exciting, especially now that Pirelli's participating with the Trans Am of today. So it was interesting to live a little bit of the nostalgia. But in any case, I mean, talking about Pirelli and what LBGP means, it's one of the biggies, and it's a track that requires performance right out of the box, and looking at the duration of the event, it's not it's not a long one, so the tires are going to be on point all the way through.
They are, and look, I mean, track conditions right now are just about perfect.
Ideal. They're ideal.
When you talk about the Trans Am Series racing this weekend at Homestead, too, so you guys are on both sides of the country in Florida with the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli and, of course, the Pirelli World Challenge system here. You got some activation, some great cars on display with Pirelli over there with your partner, Global Motorsports Group, based right here in L.A. The P0 World now set up over there. Fans that are in the local area can go visit that. Tell us about P0 World.
No, absolutely. I mean, P0 World's our little experiment. It's our first foray into the retail side of the business. In North America, we've never had that level of participation in the market. I like to call it a little bit of an incubator. Learn what you don't know about what you don't know. And it gives us a finger on the pulse of what's happening in the marketplace, what's happening with consumers at all levels, where you're talking about prestige at the high level, Ferrari, Lamborghini, all those things you come to know from us, but also as you go down and you look into what soccer moms are doing, right? So it gives us a real good indication of what the market's doing and what products we need to develop and bring forward. And
you look at the Pirelli World Challenge, gives you that whole variety of car makes as well. You have the echelon Ferrari, Bentley, McLaren, Porsche, down to when we have our touring car categories in the TCA with Mazda Miata, the Subaru BRZs that are racing, the Honda Civics. Even we had our TCB cars, the Mazda 2, the Honda Fit, the little small-tired cars, all the way up to the echelon cars, the whole gamut of tire performance that can translate directly into the car road.
Absolutely. I mean, that's why we do race. And what we're finding, especially at the high levels of racing, whether it be Formula One, GT racing, what you learn in terms of, simulations, time to market, saving time, efficiency, trying new things without having to wait for the typical cycle of development and looking for a perfect test day, like a day like today would be. You have to deal with the weather when you're scheduling real-time testing. So that's what we take away from investments such as Formula One, Pirelli World Challenge, Blancpain, all these sort of things. Is we're learning how to digest data. And back that in to help cut the development process. So at the end of the day, that's why we're here. It's why we do it. And again, too, where else in the world can you get such a diverse grid as we have here in Pirelli World Challenge? It's a lot of the people that we service at the OEM level. Some that we don't, but maybe it's some that we can develop relationships through being in the series and then have that take take on a project.
Yeah, 104 cars at COTA, so to speak, when you said the whole gamut of vehicles, 23 manufacturers.
Yeah, I mean, so it's a great place to be. We love it. We're proud of it, especially where we've come with the series, and I think there's a lot more to come.
Well, I know, Jeremy Shaw, with all your different experiences and what you've seen in Pirelli tires everywhere as well, I mean, it's amazing to see what Pirelli has done for Pirelli World Challenge. We talk about we come into the series, every track we go to, it's just record shattered. And I know with you, with all your stats, you know that for sure.
Yeah, no, it's cool. It's cool, and you're improving the breed all the time, aren't you? I know you Pirelli gains a lot from their achievements on the racetrack, and it might not be applied directly to street car tires, but it's certainly at the very least indirectly applied.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and at the end of the day, these evolutions that we bring, as you invest in a region and you lay down your footprint, it was the premise behind being involved in our foray with Grand Am and the wonderful experience we had there from 2008 to 2011. Through that, we were able to learn all the circuits in the U.S. We had been to some, we hadn't been to all.
Right.
So you learn the nuance. You also learn what the racer in North America is looking for. You're able to tune your product accordingly. So these things have been in this cycle of development where you've got to have a robust product that works on a variety of different platforms and is giving every single driver, depending on whatever he's driving, that same consistent performance all the way through. That's not going to leave them out.
And we've had a lot of drivers that I've talked to as the green flag starts on this qualifying session, as we talk about getting cars tuned up and the tire tuned up, that they love the Pirelli P0 tire because you can push it to its edge and it doesn't give up. If you push yourself in your car too much, the tire is going to be there for you. People have come run our series because of this Pirelli P0 tire. It's just amazing to see a relationship with Pirelli come into the series the way it is, and we can't thank you enough, Rafael, for that.
Well, thank you, Jeff. Jeremy, thanks for having me, and looking forward to this qualifying session. It's going to be good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens here, and we'll all get acclimated. If we shatter this lap record like Jeremy's going to, we're pretty sure it's going to happen, Jeremy. What is our lap record now for GT here?
Yeah, the lap record is 1 minute 18.883. It was set last year by Alvaro Parente. There's an average speed of 89.814 miles an hour, so 118.8. The fastest lap so far was set this morning by Michael Christensen at 119.193. So he's still 0.3 of a second away. I think that 0.3 is attainable in this session now. We will see. In the other classes, in GTA, Martin Fuentes last year, actually 2 years ago, in 2016, turned a 119.842 in qualifying. And in GTS, well, the last time the GTS cars raced here on the streets of Long Beach was back in 2014, and it was Jack Roush Jr. and a Ford Mustang Boss 302R at a time of 127.325. Well, it's probably, will this be an official record here? Because it's only the invitational cars for GTS, I don't know.
We'll have to ask that.
Spencer Pirelli turned a 126.9 earlier on this morning. So I'd say that's certainly a record looking to be beaten there as well in GTS.
Well, these teams looked at all the data. Rafael, you talked about the data. This is a tire that races globally across multiple GT series and platforms as well. So you have a multitude of data tracks all across the world.
Absolutely, we got a pretty good technology book on this product, and for efficiencies and the fact that when you're dealing with the European car makers, right, a lot of the development is having overseas, and we learned that through our experience early on that a lot of the development's taking place there. We're racing here, cross transfer of info, data. It's helped us lead the OEM to consider, hey, we've got to be exchanging, wheel dimensions. Body shaping, all that sort of stuff. So then it becomes easier, and that transfer and expectation of what you're going to get, it becomes apples to apples, right? It makes it a lot easier, especially when you're working in a global context.
Well, everybody always talks about the most important piece of the car, the guy behind the wheel, but the piece that I think is touching the asphalt has to be the most important piece in these Pirelli P0 tires. Put you on the spot a little bit. How many Pirelli P0 race tires for global GT racing are made in a year? Come on. I can't even estimate how many tires you guys must produce.
Let me tell you, it's a bundle.
Yeah.
It's more than you think. and the number's growing. I can't quote you an exact one because it's information we manage in a classified way.
Can't confirm nor deny that accusation.
Can't
right?
confirm nor deny it. It's a sizable number, and you keep in mind that, you know, in addition to that, the lion's share too, you know, not only GT, but it's also a ton of tires being made for Formula One.
Oh yeah, Formula One goes.
So, you know, our factories, our two factories that are state-of-the-art producing motorsport tires are running full pop.
Where are those factories?
We have one in Izmit in Turkey, and we have one in Romania.
Wow.
Okay.
That's amazing to see the technology that goes into making a tire. I've been to a few factories on the BF Goodrich side. I got a chance to tour their facility and to see what goes into making these tires and what you have to do to see. And that's just the motorsport factories building two tires. They have two factories to build only the motorsport, not including the road tires and everything else that Pirelli does. Now, Pirelli, you're trying to transition, we talk about that P0 world, into a lifestyle brand as well, not just tires.
No, I mean, I think if you look at the Pirelli brand in terms of the tire context, I mean, it's always had a different positioning than our competitors. There's all the different things the brand does, whether you consider the advertising, the iconic advertising, the calendar, sailing, you know, fashion, all these different things. It ends up becoming a movement. And I mean, at this point in time, it's something, you know, the relationship with Inter Milan Soccer Club. Right, we've been in soccer for 30 years, right? So these are things that have just stood the test of time. We've done them before they were fashionable, so it just becomes part of the brand ethos.
That is amazing to see.
And you consider too, it's a 145-year enterprise, and we've been racing for 112 of those 145 years.
Wow, that's amazing to think about the history that makes there. But about the third, fourth lap, Jeremy, seems to be the magical lap for these Pirelli P0 tires around the streets of Long Beach, and they just completed their third lap as some of the times are starting to come down here. Alex Udell coming across the line, should be the first one there to set a fast lap here. Let's see if he can move up the standings. He does not. A 124.605, still not quite up to speed. A 119.4 for Scott Hargrove.
Yeah, that's the first really representative time there, 119.4 by Hargrove, and that's quicker than he went in that pre-qualifying practice session just a few minutes ago. Tell you what, David Calvert-Jones in car number 12, before Hargrove just came across the line to complete that lap, David Calvert-Jones in car number 12, the LA-based Australian, or primarily LA-based, but certainly Australian, was at the top of the charts there for a few minutes in that Black Swan Racing Porsche car number 12, the Ice Break Coffee car. Hats off to David, so he's taking his moment in the sunshine there. Slipping down the order now as the other guys, the full pros, get to work. But that was a really good, very cool for David Calvert-Jones to be at the top of the charts for a moment or two. So I hope somebody took a picture of that for David.
He does list Los Angeles as his home. He's a helicopter pilot for the film industry, a TV and movie producer. Just won the Bathurst 12 Hours in that car. That car was on a shipping crate. Got here last week. They were able to get it updated and get it ready and get it going for Pirelli World Challenge competition. And you go with Black Swan Racing, who has been a staple here in Pirelli World Challenge competition for the last 4 or 5 years, to come with 3 cars here this weekend with Tim Pappas, the team principal, David Calvert-Jones, and it looks like Martin Fuentes off of one of the runoff areas in his Hublot Ferrari. And, of course, Jeff Ward in the GTS class will catch up to everybody on that as Alec Udell goes to the top of the time charts, a 119.385. Oh, just as I say that, the second Porsche of Michael Christensen, the Allegra Motorsports 911 GT3R at a 118.750, and I have to go to my stat man, Jeremy Shaw.
That's
here.
it.
What
new
is
mark,
it?
new standard. Absolutely new lap record for Michael Christensen in the Allegra Motorsports car number 24. It's interesting, when he came out of the track, he did one really slow lap. And then kind of just gradually built up the temperature and the pressures in these Pirelli P0 tires. And then he's got a lot of experience in these cars and on these tires. He knows exactly when those tires are at their absolute ultimate peak. And he's just laid down that lap. That's 0.3 of a second quicker than anybody else has gone this weekend. Daniel Mancinelli up into second place at a 119.0. So he is hot on the heels now. Is the Ferrari of Daniel Mancinelli, car number 31.
Looking at Alec Udell, comes across the line, does not better his time at 1:19.3. Going to our
that's
GTA
a good lap by
leader.
Alec Udell. That's significantly quicker than he managed. Even in the previous practice session, he was in the 20s. So he's found 3/4 of a second as Alec Udell in that Lokai Porsche.
Rodrigo Baptista, the top of our GTA class, with a superb time, a 1:19.608. Fastest overall in GTA. Second, Yuki Hirata at a 1:20.096. You got to go back to Martin Fuentes, who had that earlier problem into the runoff zone at a 1:20.382. But all eyes are on Michael Christensen. He basically stopped right there in the chicane to give himself a gap to try to see if he could better that lap time as he comes down here through that fountain area, around the Dolphin into turn number 4, then the quick right-hander, turn number 5, a little short shoot, back onto Seaside, and then onto Pine, which is the hard left-hander, and then turns onto the backstretch down through the tunnel. It's a busy time when you're around Long Beach here.
It is, and it is actually his time has just been eclipsed. It's Tony Vilander goes to the top in the Ferrari car number 61 for R Ferry Motorsports. 1:18.708 for Tony Vilander. The Flying Finn goes to the top of the timing charts.
Looking at Mancinelli, we saw him in his TR3 Racing. He's the third car into those 18s. He sets his best time at a 1:18.971. Goes into third place as Yuki Hirata goes to the top of our GTA leaderboard now at a 1:19.157. I tell you what, they put these Pirelli P0 tires on that fresh set, lower the fuel ratios, and a lot of these guys going a second to 2 seconds quicker than they have even in the practice session.
I tell you what, that's a stunning lap from Yuki Hirata there. He comes 55, 6th fastest overall, 1:19.157. That's quicker than anybody had managed prior to this qualifying session this morning. Stunning lap from Yuki Hirata. This is just his second season of racing. Okay, he did a lot of racing last year, but still he doesn't have anything like the experience of just about everybody else in the field. To be 6th fastest overall, ahead of Scott Hargrove, by the way, who won convincingly on the streets of St. Petersburg the first 2 races in the championship. That's a stunning effort by the Japanese car number 55.
Brand new daddy, just had a baby in the not season, in between races from St. Pete, Dakota, little Ricky. So I know the Hirata family will be watching there in Japan. Want to give a good congratulations from all of us here at Pirelli World Challenge for young Ricky, the 23-year-old downhill skier from Japan, making his World Challenge debut last season, winning our GT Cup category class, stepping up to full GT3 platform now in that GTA category. And like you said, just a superb drive, Jeremy.
Yeah, really much so. And Alec Udell, 3rd position now, 1:18.971 for Alec Udell in the number 41 Porsche. That's a GMG car. Oops, Hirata's found the limit, has he?
Yeah, he went a little too quick there, just banged that right rear wing off of the car. As he goes back to our GTS category, of course, the GTS Invitational here this weekend. And Paul Holt in that Compass Racing McLaren just sets a blistering lap time. Fastest all of the weekend for our GTS category, a 1:25.930. Harry Gottstecker, you got to go back a full second and a half to a 1:26.4. And then Spencer Pompelli in the TRG LaSalle Solutions Porsche Cayman at a 1:26.491 as his fastest time. In our GTS A category, Bob McKillian in the Sin R1 GT4 to 1:26.6. Jeff Ward, the local motocross racer here at the GTS A category, second at a 1:27.295, and George Kurtz at a 1:28.543 in his Audi in third.
We've got a new fastest man overall, though. It's Daniel Mancinelli back to the top at a 1:18.694 now for car number 31, the TR3 Racing. That's the white Ferrari coming down a Seaside way now. Not sure whether he's on another hot lap or not. Probably not, because he's got a lot of slower cars in front of him. He's on the GTS cars, which are going to have to negotiate through these final couple of corners. But what a great lap that was for Daniel Mancinelli. Another new track record then, 1:18.694 for car number 31.
Stuck in traffic now as he comes down through the hairpin, has Bob McKillian in front of him. Not sure, he can't better his time, I don't think, being held up so much on that. Yeah, 1:25.
But he's got a good run now.
Slower.
If you've got a good run out of the hairpin, as he was overtaking his cars coming onto the straight, he's got perhaps some clear track in front of him now, so maybe there's more time right behind him on the road, though. He carried too much speed into turn 1 as David Calvert-Jones had spun around there on the exit, so some fairly substantial avoiding maneuvers. Michael Christensen also was in among that pack. Michael Christensen led the way early on in the Allegra Motorsports Porsche. He was struggling to find his way through the traffic, and he too had to take evasive action.
Yeah, Bob McCallion there got his car spun around there. 4-5's off into the runoff there. That's that Sin R1 from Racer's Edge. Talked to John Meraki, the team principal there at Racer's Edge, said he's pretty much done every single form of racing in over 30 years, except for the Indy 500 in Long Beach. He's just happy to be here as a team owner, 2 cars strong with this GTS Invitational class. I've never seen him without a smile on his face here this weekend. Loving being here. Hopefully McCallion can get back underway, as it is the 2 Ferraris, 1-2, and then Porsches 3 and 4 with Christensen and Alec Udell finding the 118s now to 118.971. Daniel Morad rounds out your top 5 in GT, and at DeVilbiss Mercedes also in the 118s, 118.976. So just about 0.3 of a second separating your top 5 here on the streets of Long Beach.
So we expected lap records to tumble. That's exactly what they have been doing. A tremendous lap there by Daniel Mancinelli to lead the way. 118.694 eclipses the old track record at a 118.8. So it's Ferrari 1-2 then. Daniel Mancinelli, caliber 31, caliber 61 for Tony Vilander in second place. And it's Porsches in third and fourth. Michael Christensen, caliber 24. Alec Udell in caliber 41. A good effort by the young man there, Alec Udell, 22 years of age, from the Woodlands in Texas, but driving for the Southern California-based GMG team. Fifth fastest, the Mercedes, caliber 2, Daniel Morad at 118.9, so he's only within 0.3 of a second of the pole time in fifth position. The championship leader, Scott Hargrove, number 96 Porsche, down in sixth position, ahead of the GTA leader, Yuki Hirata, tremendous 119.1 for caliber 55. Martin Fuentes, the 07 Ferrari, second in GTA at a 119.4, and Rodrigo Baptista, who led the way early on in GTA, number 9 Bentley Continental, down to third position in GTA.
Just got a little less than 10 minutes to go in this qualifying session. Seeing a lot of the cars come down on pit lane now. Maybe
We've got a new fastest time, Jeff. We've got a new fastest time. It's the Mercedes of Daniel Morad at 118.642 for the Canadian driver, Daniel Morad, car number 2.
This one I was talking about, some teams coming down pit lane to maybe cool everything off, reset the tire pressures on their Pirelli P0 tires, and go for a run at the end. Morad goes down and puts down a lap. Tony Vilander trying to see if he can catch a little bit of a draft on the back of the Sin. He is on a flyer right now. Can he better his time? He does not. Oh, he does. Goes to the top of the charts. Look at that. 118.436. 0.2 of a second quicker than Morad.
Great lap by the Finn. Fantastic effort by Tony Vilander. He was his debut in the Pirelli World Challenge was at St. Petersburg last month. He put the car on the pole for the first race there. Not a bad way to start out your career in the Pirelli World Challenge. He's a veteran driver, been around a long time, driving these Ferraris for a long, long time, from Kankanpää in Finland. But it was his debut. He started on the pole position, through second in that first race. But we know the speed is in the car, and he's shown it again here on the streets of Long Beach. He does have experience here on the streets in the past, and he's taking full advantage of that. 118.436, so by 0.2 of a second, Tony Vilander it is who leads the way.
We talk about always obliterating those lap records. When you think about a 118.8 to be 0.4 of a second quicker around this tight street circuit, that is an obliteration, Jeremy.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's remarkable. Very, very impressive. The other guy to watch, Rocky Moran Jr., car number 71 in 12th position at a 120.4, and he's showing the way to his young teammate Parker Chase in car number 19, who has the best time in his session for Parker Chase, a 120.8. So Rocky Moran's got 0.4 of a second on him, and this is the very first time this morning he's even driven this race car at all at speed. He had a problem yesterday which precluded him from going out at all in the first practice session. The team was up until 2 o'clock last night fitting a new engine to that car, and Rocky Moran taking his first laps, and he is doing a magnificent job there in that car number 71. That's the Trent Shoring Audi, car number 71, 12th position overall.
Make sure you follow along at world-challenge.com to the live timing or the live stream. Go to the App Store, download our brand new Pirelli World Challenge app. You can watch live stream on your mobile device or your laptop computer or your smart TV. If you're going to world-challenge.com. The race time tomorrow, we do have the live stream of that as well. Starting off 9:30 to 10 is our pre-race, and 10 to 10:50 for green flag. About 9:50 will go green on the web for our live stream. Make sure you get ready to tune in for that, as just about 6.5 minutes to go here in this qualifying session. I think if you're still on the track, you may not quite have a chance to do it, but I think the more times people start boarding their laps and coming down pit lane, the clearer that track will be, Jeremy.
Yeah, we've got most of the cars still out on the racetrack there with time tickering. We've still got 6 minutes remaining, so certainly plenty of time to make an improvement. And there are guys who are improving their times. The Martin Fuentes has just improved on his last lap, 1 minute 19.3. He remains 8th fastest overall and second in GTA, just a couple of tenths of a second behind Yuki Hirata in the Lamborghini car number 55, but certainly Fuentes improved last time, and also Alvaro Parente, who's just behind those two, one of the pro contenders in the Bentley car number 9, 1:19.416 last time around was his best lap.
Well, Martin Fuentes comes off the hairpin down the straightaway, does not better his time, but he does have a perfectly clear track in front of him to see if he can put down a lap. As Tony Vilander right behind Scott Hargrove, looks like he got held up a little bit there down in turn number 5. Not sure if the race officials will look at that, but Hargrove was kind of warming the tires up a little bit and got in the way of Vilander. We'll have to see if Tony is going to see if he can get around him, but this might play to his advantage, getting a little bit of a draft, as he does not. He aborts that lap, knows that he was slower, trying to get himself a gap built back again.
Yeah, he won't be very happy there, Tony Vilander, who's on a good lap and was held up there, so he clearly wasn't going to improve. So in that case, he's going to let Hargrove go. He won't be very happy with Hargrove, but he'll let him go and then try and set up for another good lap. There's an improvement last time around by Alec Udell, fifth position still for car number 41, but down in 1:18.754. So we've now got 5 drivers underneath the old track record.
Top 9 cars all within a second with 2 different classes as well. Really speaks to the competition and how close it is here in Pirelli World Challenges. Your pole sitter in our GTS A category, Bob McEllion, brings his Sin R1 GT4 down here on pit lane. Jeff Ward in second, did better his time last time by at a 1:27.295. McEllion still sitting on pole, however, at a 1:26.692, and that time with Paul Holton earlier in that McLaren at a 1:25.930, still bettered by 0.3 of a second over Harry Gottsecker, who keeps chipping away, just can't get it down at a 1:26.255.
That's right, and 5 of the 7 GTS cars are underneath the old lap record set in 2014 by Jack Roush Jr. in the Ford Mustang of 1:27.3. So you can say 5 of the 7 cars are underneath that mark, with still just under just over 3 minutes remaining in this qualifying session.
Look at our GT field as well. 5 cars below the lap record there. A 1:18.883 was the lap record before, and Alec Udell at a 1:18.754, eclipsing that. So top 5 cars all below that race lap record.
They are. And Rocky Moran has just improved his time again, up to 11th position now for Rocky with car number 71. 1:20.4. What a great effort that is by Rocky Moran Jr. Basically lives these days in Irvine, but certainly a Southern California native, done a lot of racing in all sorts of different cars, and absolutely relishing the handling of that number 71 car. He comes off, here we are on the big screens now, coming past the start-finish line. Is he going to improve again this lap? Let's see if he goes across the stripe.
Yes.
Waiting for the time to show. Still waiting for the time to show.
Yeah, 1:20.429. He does improve. That was his best lap, an average speed of eclipsing the 88-mile-an-hour mark. You go to our leaders, how about Tony Vilander, still with that 1:18.436, but a 90.3 mile per hour. And that's an average around this tight street course. There's no give here. There's concrete on both sides of you as you race around here. There is no give. It still is that blistering lap by Yuki Hirata in the GTA category as well, a 1:19.157. Martin Fuentes at a 1:19.3, and Rodrigo Baptista at a 1:19.6 to lead our top 3 in our GTA.
Time doesn't show up on my score here for walking around. It's odd. It's on one one scoring chart, but not the other.
Yeah,
Right?
Tony Vilander does not better his time, had a little bit of a lap traffic, but it's all clear in front of him now. Martin Fuentes getting a little bit of a draft from Scott Hargrove, had some clear track on this time. We'll see if he's going to better that time that he had that earlier, that 1:19.3. Looking for pole in our GTA category. Oh, wow, betters the time to a 1:19.183. Still in second in GT, but a 1:19.157. So you got about 25 hundredths of a second separating your first and second place in our GTA category. It does not get very much closer than that, Jeremy.
That's fantastic, isn't it? Really, really close, and just some stunning lap times being set during this session. Yeah, just 0.026 between the top two in GTA. There's a full 2/10 of a second between first and second overall. Tony Vilander leading the way for Ferrari ahead of the Mercedes of Daniel Morat, car number 2, and Daniel Mancinelli in third position, car number 31, that white TR3 Motorsports Ferrari. He's on pit lane. His session is completed. We're inside the final minute. Rocky Moran improved again last time, doing another 10th of a second he found. 1:20.1 now for Rocky. He's next in his sights will be Rodrigo Baptista. That's another half second away. I doubt he'll find that on this final lap, but a tremendous effort, I would say, by Rocky Moran. He's a full half a second quicker than Parker Chase, the youngster who's driving his similar car for True Speed Autosport the entire season.
Well, Tony Vilander pulls it down pit lane. 20 seconds to go in this qualifying session. He will be done. So he's trying to see if that time at a 1:18.436 will stand. Number 41, the Loki Porsche from GMG with Alec Udell sitting there right now on a flyer lap. Checkered flag is out. Does Alec have anything for him as Alvaro Parent comes out of the Bentley here? He's sitting right now in 9th overall. This is his last time to better his time of a 1:19.416. Does not do it. A 1:19.532. And the backstretch it is on Seaside Drive. Alec Udell down into turn number 9.
Yeah, and there was another improvement there for Rocky Moran, another 10th of a second, 1:20.024 for Rocky in car number 71. So he's just gaining more experience, getting faster, and that's a fine effort, and also a good effort there by Alec Udell. He got bumped down to 5th place there, but still a fine qualifying session for that Loki Porsche. Interestingly, there's that sponsorship, by the way, the principle at Loki, which is a patent search engine, basically, isn't it, on the web. He was Alec Udell's crew chief a couple of years ago, looking after his race car. Now he's sponsoring it, and it's such a cool story.
Well, Alec Udell goes up to 4th at a 1:18.713. Rocky Moran comes across the line. We'll see if he can once again better his lap, as he does every single time he comes by. A 1:20.024 that he'll stand. But Tony Vilander down there in pit lane, looks like it might be pole position for him. I believe that's going to be everybody down on pit lane as this session is over. But Tony Vilander able to get his pole here today at Long Beach.
And Rocky Moran, his final lap was a 1:20.1. His teammate Parker Chase on that final lap did improve also, and he is now just 1,000th of a second behind Rocky Moran. I'd say those two True Speed Autosport cars are pretty evenly matched. What do you reckon?
I can't imagine how much closer you could get than that. I mean, except they had the best time, but yeah, 1,000th of a second, 1:20.024 to a 1:20.025. As we get an interview there for Tony Vilander with Ryan Marine down there on pit lane. A good chance for fans to be able to tune into CBS Sports Network, watch our expanded coverage of the Pirelli World Challenge competition right here on Long Beach. Well, you'll see that interview with Tony Vilander. You can watch live at world-challenge.com and our Pirelli World Challenge app. All the action live as it happens, and then tune in next Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern for a 2-hour broadcast of the Grand Prix of Long Beach for the Pirelli World Challenge. Well, Jeff Lepper here, Jeremy Shaw, a lot of great stuff still happening, a lot of autograph sessions going around. Don't forget, right now, the IMSA autograph session's going on. Come over at 11 o'clock to the Expedition and the Lifestyle Expo for the Pirelli World Challenge autograph session. Starting at 3:50, we'll have the Stadium Super Truck autograph session going on. All part of this conglomeration for the Toyota Grand Prix of Long Beach. Jeremy Shaw, a lot of stuff going on, including Pirelli World Challenge action for race day tomorrow.
Absolutely tremendous. Thanks for joining us. We will be back, and we will pass you back to the capable hands and voice of Mr. Bruce Flanders.